Hi, Jolie Gabrielle here for day 22 of my consistency challenge with myself. I'm so grateful to be here and I thank you so much for joining me. Today, I kind of want to go into what I researched about the endocrine system. I don't know much. This is my own entertainment, commentary, opinion. But the reason why I'm here is because I am a channel of light and blessings. And by meditating every day, what I'm doing is I'm trying to catch the rhythm and maybe even prove and receives the blessings from aligning with the laws of the universe and following the rules of quantum mechanics, meaning what? Meaning that if I focus every day on meditation, on positive energy, and on aligning with the laws of the universe, that I should be able to create a certain level of mastery in my life over this 3D world. And not only that, my personal development should, or maybe not should, but I benefit when I personally develop myself, gain mastery, and then I'm able to help other people align with their purpose, create a mastery over their lives and over their journey so they can reach their goals. In a nutshell, I open myself up. I'm here as a channel of light and blessings so that I can help people move from darkness into light by gaining their own unique skill set to deal with their strong emotions in real time. So, for instance, let's say that you are in the office of your boss or your supervisor, and maybe there's been a complaint or something has gone on, or possibly a review and it's not quite what you wanted, and they're delivering this information to you. And in this situation, an inappropriate response could be an emotion, a strong emotion, right? Whatever it may be. It could be anger. Most of us think of maybe tears or crying, but some people go off, right? But maybe that's not what you want to do. But imagine if you knew how to turn your supervisor into Charlie Brown's teacher for a moment, and then ground your energy, pull your aura in, higher self above you, astral body snap in, get in that prefrontal cortex, tell it what to do. Like, hey, listen, we need to take in this information, receive it with love so that we can get clear, stand 10 toes down on who we are and speak back, and then say, hey, let me repeat this back to you so I know that and I'm understanding you correctly. And then while you're repeating back this information, because trust me, your subconscious mind got it, then you can start to formulate an argument that can then rebut or explain, not giving excuses. Sometimes we think about, oh, all you're doing is giving excuses. But sometimes information is very helpful so that a person can maybe understand your perspective. But we always want to take responsibility for our part, right? Yes, I may have done this wrong. However, my thought process was this, or I had a feeling, or I received this information, which then created this chain reaction. So you want to meet your boss or your person or partner eye to eye instead of coming from a place of fear, which what does that create? Misunderstanding and miscommunication. So let's deal with some of the bodily functions that can help us get the mind to relax so we can get in the body and in the heart and come from a place of love. But why do we want to do this? Because the mind has duality, right? We have right and left brain, we have masculine and feminine, we have light and dark. So we have all of this duality that goes on in the mind. So basically what the mind is saying is, give me a job to do. Come in here periodically, get to know how I operate so that you can then use those spiritual principles to program me. I'll then relax and allow for your body to heal. So let's look at what the endocrine system does. We know the cerebral cortex is important, the prefrontal cortex, and that the minions, I'd like to call it, the amygdala, the hippocampus, all of these things are working together to create your thought process, your cognition, your responses, your decision making, and also your hormones, where things go. but you also have your ego, your super id, your id. These are all the things that were broken down and labeled, right? So then mass consciousness understands these things and then steps out, with this information and like lives life. So maybe if we get into a little bit of the details, we can start to reprogram our own system so that it aligns with what works for us and our unique spiritual signature. So the endocrine system is a network of glands throughout the body that produce and secrete hormones. Now we know that our hormones tell all of our systems in the body what to do. Hormones are extremely important for optimal health. So these act as chemical messengers that regulate various bodily functions like growth, metabolism, reproduction, mood, responses to stress by sending signals through the bloodstream to target organs and tissues. So basically, hormones are big time supporters and helpers for our systems to run right. So they are carrying information that allows for these parts of our body that we're growing, our metabolism to burn, our calories and to keep us healthy, and that loop. You see, everything is a cycle and a loop. And we spoke about Greg Braden and how he talked about these receptors. They collapse in on themselves and they go out. These, 10 trillion cells that have like something like 100 million atoms and one. Amazing what the human body can do. So let's try to get a better understanding of our system, right? All right, now, it releases hormones directly into the bloodstream. Now, the major glands of the endocrine system are the pituitary, so that's in the mind or the brain, thyroid, and the parathyroid. The thyroid is in the neck, but I'm sure it's all throughout. The adrenals, the pancreas, the ovaries, and the testes. So these are the major glands that make up the endocrine system. So they're tightly regulated by feedback loops, all right? So basically, what is a feedback loop? We talked about this last time. It's a give and receive, give and receive. So it's like whatever you're putting out there is going to come back. So whatever you're believing in your mind, whatever is being programmed into your endocrine system is going to keep moving like that until we give it something different. Until we feed it, it's something different. All right? It's a level of hormone in the blood can signal for the glands to either increase production or decrease production. So they seem to be a little bit malleable, maybe. We'll check it out. Now, the functions that are controlled by these glands are metabolism, we talked about it, but also mood and sleep, your blood sugar levels, as well as your body temperature. So now, how does the endocrine system work? So let's start at step one. Now, these are all signals, right? Signals. So imagine that. The hypothalamus gland initiates, it says, release of hormones by sending signals to the pituitary gland. Okay, so the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland are talking to each other and communicating, right? So we want this to be a positive communication. And any blocks between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, we need to work out. All right, from the pituitary gland then releases the hormones that stimulate other endocrine glands that we talked about, the testes, the ovaries, the pancreas, the thyroid, the parathyroid, to produce and secrete their specific hormones. Now, I didn't go into what each one does, but the pancreas, bile for the tummy acid. The ovaries and the testes, we're dealing with the egg and the sperm. And then when we're dealing with the thyroid, this is a regulation of our metabolism, right? And other things, I'm sure. So it says hormones travel through the bloodstream. So that's why it's important that we turn our blood heart-shaped, so that we send love into ourselves, so that our systems can relax. They can let go of that stress. They can know that you're there to support them. This is real. You are alive and energy works. That's what we're trying to prove, right? So why not pour love and positive energy into these cells and see if they transform? All right. So when hormone binds to a specific receptor, now what is a receptor? Receptor, receive, right? Okay. So this is meant to receive. So if it can receive, then that means what are we going to give it? We can give it something, right? It's a receptor. These words mean something. So if it's a receptor, it can receive. And sometimes our receptors are short-circuited, right? Or maybe they're not receiving all the information, the necessary information they need to stay optimally healthy. So maybe this is a place we work. Okay, so when hormones when a hormone binds to a specific receptor on a target cell, it triggers a series of cellular responses to carry out intended function. So maybe we should tell these receptors in these areas where we may be suffering exactly what to do. Now, some of the things that really superpower or can help to restore the endocrine glands would be rest, always. And many of us think about rest and we poo-poo it and we think it's not what we need to do. We really need to work harder, work harder, work harder. However, what if your body is saying there's something wrong with me and I need for you to rest in order for me to harmonize and rebalance myself back to optimal health? But instead of listening to that, what do? You push even harder. For instance, story time. I was minding my own business. I don't know what I was doing, something. And the spirit, comes in my mind and it goes, Jolie, you need to stretch. Like, what are you doing? Now, my friend Deborah Ferris, thank you, Deb, I love you, has told me, she's a resistance flexibility coach, that what you're dealing with, Jolie, you really need to stretch your muscles. And when I was training and I was doing Pilates and I was doing it was a Pilates. My trainer had me doing strength training, cardio, HIIT, and Pilates. And that whole thing was really helping a lot. And I noticed that elongation is kind of what my body type needs, especially since I speak to being compressed in the lumbar spine. It would behoove me to stretch my muscles, right? So listen to your intuition. Seeds and nuts are really good for the endocrine system. They do something, and of course, meditation. So let's drop down and look at what Louise Hay has to say about some of this. All right, now Louise Hay says the things, your endocrine gland, is suffering with diabetes and also a thyroid goiter. These things are your endocrine gland needs to be harmonized. It's out of alignment. So the negative belief system about diabetes is longing for what might have been, a great need to control, and a deep sorrow, and there's no sweetness left in life. And so the positive affirmation to program into the prefrontal cortex and beyond is, this moment is filled with joy. I now choose to experience the sweetness of today. So that's what we want to put in, because we want to stay in the present moment. Now, the belief system of the thyroid goiter that is negative is humiliation. And it says, I never get to do what I want. When is it going to be my turn? And then the positive belief to program is, I move beyond old limitations and now allow myself to express freely and creatively. So let's meditate. We're going to work on this endocrine gland. I'm going to work on mine. It all starts with me. Thank you for joining me. So I'm going to put my feet flat on the floor, palms face up on my thighs. I'm in a comfortable position. Ground my energy, pull my aura in, higher self above me, astral body snapped in. I'm running 15% earth energy, 85% cosmic gold. I call in my golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles, blanketing the inside and the outside of my grounding cord and my chakras. And I let this do its thing as I breathe with the rhythm of my body. And now as that 85% cosmic gold cascades down, I'm going to bring my awareness to the center of my head and into the prefrontal cortex. And here, we're going to do some programming. We're going to put in the positive belief system, for the endocrine system. For those suffering from a thyroid goiter, we're going to put in the belief system of, I move beyond old limitations, and this moment is filled with joy. So this moment is filled with joy. So positive teaching healing, negative teaching healing, trauma teaching healing, divine joy. And we're going to bring that down. And where do we go? It goes in the hypothalamus. Of course, it's a prefrontal cortex, but we put it in the hypothalamus. Remember, in these hormones, we're putting in, I move beyond old limitations, and this moment is filled with joy. Okay, so we're putting that in our cells, and we're watching these cells replicate as we command our heart chakra to turn all of our blood cells heart-shaped and move that throughout our body. So not only do we have this positive affirmation moving through our atoms and our cells, but they're meeting up with the loving blood and the loving life force that is solidified and bona fide by running Mother Earth energy and that cosmic gold. So it's like they're just morphing and changing and doing what is needed to bring all of this positive energy into the cells and into the endocrine system. All right, so now we're going to program ourselves with, what is it now? This is positive teaching healing, negative teaching healing, trauma teaching healing. I now choose to experience the sweetness of today. So we really want to stay in that present moment and experience divine sweetness, not only bringing it into our lives, but allowing for us to bring it into the lives of others. Really sharing our love, sharing our joy, because that's the only thing that has the ability to transmute itself. Now my spine is showing up on me here, and it really wants some attention. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, we're going to put a golden sun above my head. I'm going to bring that down, pop it above my higher self and into the gold light as it moves down, and it's going to light me up. And we're going to see where this gold light isn't going down the spine. Let's get it to the lumbar. All right, so there is darkness there, and I see what looks like a fat bubble. It's like red, and it's like stretched to the limit, and it's crushed, and it's like a bubble, like somebody blew a bubble gum sticking out here. And then as I go down, it's not as bad, but there's one that's really bad, and then above it, and then above it, and then below it. Okay, so what I do as a medical intuitive here is, of course, I'm going to bring in lots and lots of love. And we got to talk to this part of my spine. I'm in the endocrine system, but my spine is like, here I am. All right, I'm here. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Okay. What do you need from me? What did I do? What is the pattern in here? Lack of self-guidance, lack of self-love. Okay. All right, so any trauma from experiences where I failed to guide myself. We're going to give me positive teaching healing, negative teaching healing, trauma teaching healing, divine guidance. All right, and then again, divine self-love. Can we get enough of that? Is that something we have to do every day? You're going to have to do it until I decide I want to open up. Okay. Okay. All right, so gold light, we're grounded. All right, so what else is here? Oh, pictures are stacked up in here. So there's a pattern. There's a pattern of stenosis in the family. So let's see if we can get into, bring positive energy into this DNA. Now they say this stuff is possible, so I'm going to believe it. And we're going to get into the DNA sequence that is dealing with stenosis. And let's see if we can positive teaching healing, negative teaching healing, trauma teaching healing for divine spine. Making mind the same. Creator's Pud, making mind the same. And then golden sun above my head. We're going to put in here divine spine, and we're going to program in the 4D the cells in the prefrontal cortex. I know this sounds absurd, but doesn't drugs sound absurd? Doesn't pharmaceuticals, doesn't being like crippled sound absurd? Doesn't all? So if that is absurd, why don't we try something different? So let's move this stuff out. Any trauma that may have been in the prefrontal cortex ancestrally, stenosis, we resolve and dissolve on a history level. Cancel, pull, delete, soul, core, genetic. That's the trauma. But I'm going to doubly do this, and I want to see my ancestors, and I give them this healing, and my progeny, my children, and their children. We break all vows, contracts, agreements, other obligations, spells, curses, karma with stenosis. We move out of disease and illness. We turn that stenosis bright yellow, and it's like this spidery nerve thing that I'm seeing. It's like yellow, and it's like not even a pretty yellow. It's like crusty yellow. It's nasty, crusty yellow coming up from my spine. It's like nerves, ganglia, and I see that. You got to go. Like maybe you had the right intentions, but gold light, it's alive. It needs to move. My stuff looked all hard and calcified and biley. Let's get that out. Let's bring in the gold light into these nerves, branches, whatever they are, the ganglia. And let's move out any pictures. We'll pop out all the pictures for the pattern of stenosis. Drain them. We're going to fill them with gold light, and we're going to store them in our memory bank. So we take the lesson and no longer the pain, the charge, or that looping, that replication. I'm giving these receptors something new. Optimal health, divine spine. I am aligned. I am decompressed. All right, let's get back into that prefrontal cortex and that endocrine system. As we move into that throat now. So that pituitary, that hypothalamus, we're programming it with, I move beyond all limitations, and this moment is filled with joy. And also now, I now choose to experience the sweetness of today. So these are the new hormones of optimal health. The hypothalamus is now sending to the pituitary. It is commanded, hypothalamus, that you send these affirmative energy, words, and you program them into my cells and my hormones, and you send this message. It is commanded, you send this message to my pituitary. And my pituitary is then going to send this out. And I'm going to watch this as it sends it to the thyroid, the parathyroid, the pancreas, the ovaries. And I see this energy go all throughout my body, giving this the messages of my metabolism, of my hormones, my thyroid. Moving out disease and illness down the grounding cord and filling up with health and well-being. Bringing gold light into all of the systems, the endocrine systems. All right, as I let this do its thing, I'm going to go ahead and open my heart and send love and healing out into the universe. And send this endocrine healing out into my environment. And anyone who wants an endocrine healing, we put a golden sun above their head, filled with optimally healthy endocrine system. For all of you who want it, say yes, that golden sun pops down. And it really loves on those ovaries. And it loves on that pancreas. And it loves on those testes. And it loves on that pituitary, that hypothalamus, that thyroid, and that parathyroid. I want you to sit in the energy of love going into these parts of your body as you breathe with the rhythm of your body. And I gently remind me and you, I'm grounded and rooted into Mother Earth, with a grounding cord that is clean and clear, 6 inches in diameter, and connected to my first chakra. My aura is 1.5 feet around me. My higher self's a comfortable distance above my crown. My astral body is snapped in while I run 15% earth energy pooling in my feet, traveling up the side channels of my legs as that 85% gold light, cosmic divine life force energy cascades down through my higher self, through my aura layer, into my brain, reprogramming my prefrontal cortex with joy, being present in today, loving myself. These hormones are programming in the positive energy of this moment is filled with joy. I move beyond my old limitations. I now allow myself to express myself freely and creatively. My first chakra knows that it is safe for me to express myself freely and creatively. And those cells move down into that first chakra, letting it know, hey, relax, create. Moving up into the second, which is where creativity lies, and say, hey, you're safe to create. As it moves up into the third chakra and it says, look, you are powerful. You are a powerful being of creation. Create, move forward as you do it with love for yourself and love for mankind. So speak your truth, be lucid, sit in reality, program positive thought forms in the 4D so they manifest in the 3D as you stay connected to divine life force energy and your higher self, giving those messages as the ego defaults to the messages from the higher self. The higher self hears what Mother Earth and the divine has to say, and you step out in alignment with the laws of the universe. Creating mastery over your environment and teaching others how to create mastery over theirs in the highest and the best way with grace and ease. As this energy, this light runs through those endocrine cells throughout my body, bringing me into a state of optimal health and well-being. As I tell all of me, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I tell my spine, I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. My ovaries, my pancreas. I done beat you up, pancreas. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I restore you. It is commanded you be restored to 0 point, full potentiality. My pituitary, my hypothalamus, you the same. And all of the systems in my body be filled with love and joy and light. In the highest and best way with grace and ease. I'm going to close my feet, my hands, and my crown chakras. My toroidal field was lit up. My pyramid appeared. And that white light is beaming down through Mother Earth, my pyramid, my higher self that stands at the power position, my aura layer, through my crown, all the way down through my spine, through my grounding cord, and into Mother Earth. All those golden suns were brought in. I'm going to close my feet again, my hands, my crown. I'm going to stop running energy, let it settle. In my aura layer, I see all the sparkliness, all the beauty in my body and in my environment. And I give that to you. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I will see you tomorrow.